So hi, I'm Kai, and today I'm going to go over my simple expansion on the IoT system we developed in class. And actually, let me minimize this. Yeah. So in class, we used the humidity sensor. We kind of charted the data from there, and we had the light illuminate if a certain threshold was met. I added in a motion sensor to detect presence or motion as another event to trigger the light bulb to illuminate as well, and specifically in my windowless bathroom. So the end goal is to have the light illuminate, but we're gonna start with having the sensors first as the initial components in our system. So I have the Aquara motion sensor, and then I also have the Aquara humidity and temperature sensor as well. Of course, they're both placed in my bathroom. And then we have the Raspberry Pi in this IoT system. That's gonna be what is connecting or communicating, with the sensors. But since the sensors use Zigbee as a wireless protocol, an adapter is needed to relay that signal back to the Pi. And so for that, that's why I have a picture of the Conbi Zigbee USB dongle, and then I'm plugging that into the USB port on the Pi, and this then allows the Pi to receive information via Zigbee. And IoT would be useful once you're actually doing something with the data. So for that to happen, we're going to push the data from the Raspberry Pi to the cloud. One of the ways we can get the data off the Pi to the cloud is via an MQTT broker. We push sensor data from our Pi to an MQTT server. Another way is we can also push data to the Amazon cloud database, DynamoDB. And then once the data is sitting on there, we can actually do something with the data. In our class, we use IoT Creator to graph the temperature and humidity data from the sensors. So that's one thing you can do. And then another thing too is, of course, manipulating the data. If a certain threshold is met, you pass commands back to the Pi to then trigger an action which is illuminating the light bulb. And in my case, again, illuminating the light bulb in my bathroom. So this is kind of an overview, but we'll then kind of go behind the scenes on how this actually happens. So the two main logic applications that control our IoT system are Node-RED and IoT Creator. These applications are visual tools that help us kind of accept the inputs of the sensor data, transform the inputs through validation checks like the threshold being met or not, or visualizing the data, and then sending output back to our devices. And in this case, having the light be illuminated. So here's a snippet of just kind of my Node-RED overview. I have a lot going on, so we'll kind of zoom in on one set of nodes in particular. So the orange node I have right here is basically our decons in node. This is kind of where the communication occurs in Node-RED, where the information from my motion sensor is being pulled into Node-RED, and then changes in the motion sensor are then being detected. And we can see this being recorded in a debug window right here. So here's an example. If motion is detected, true. If no motion, then false. And then in our yellow node right there, we have a change node. And the change node here has a role to take the motion detection data, whether false or true or whatnot, or just data in general, and pass it along as a payload to our MQTT server. And then with that purple node right there, called up motion detected, we're pushing it out to MQTT. And at that point in time, the data is sitting in an MQTT broker and receiving updates. And now we can actually do things with this data in IoT Creator. So IoT Creator is also another logic application based off Node-RED. So it's going to look very similar with these nodes and lines attaching. But again, we're going to focus on one set of nodes because I know it's kind of all over the place. If you recall from the last kind of zoomed in section of some set of nodes, the motion detected was the name of the last MQTT out node. Here we're looking at IoT Creator, and this is the kind of application running on the web essentially, whereas Node-RED was local on the Pi. So the MQTT out node on the Pi was pushing out to MQTT, and then on IoT Creator, we're pulling in the MQTT data and going to do something with it. So we have the, again, purple node for the MQTT in node, the same topic name as the out node from the Node-RED MQTT out node on the Pi. And then with the switch node, I'm doing a validation check because the output of the motion detected is, again, true and false. And so here the check is that if the string is equal true, or if the string equals false, then something happens. That's going to happen right here in these like rules, basically, where on the change nodes in that next set of rules, if there's motion being detected, true, then the light will illuminate because the brightness will be then at 255. If motion detected equals false, nothing's going to happen, so the light does not illuminate. And then we complete that kind of IoT flow when the MQTT out node here, called the light, it's sending a command back to our Raspberry Pi. And on that Raspberry Pi, there's another node that's basically an MQTT in node pushing out a decons out node to then illuminate the light, thereby completing this kind of system flow that we have. And the cool thing with IoT Creator is that we have a UI that we can do. So I previously mentioned in the last slide that in class, we were graphing data. So here's my kind of charts pulling from the DynamoDB data stream, as well as the MQTT data stream. Kind of have pressure, temperature, and humidity. You can have multiple charts as well. And then we also have some light controls. So this is really nice since apart from the humidity threshold or the motion detected or not threshold, I can manually control the lights via the user interface. And so the real world application, like I mentioned, is that I have a windowless bathroom. I'm always going to be using lights regardless of the time of the day. And sometimes it's, in the middle of the night, I'm kind of groggy. I just want to come in and do my business in the bathroom and not have to, fuddle around and find the lights, or maybe my hands are dirty, my elbows are dirty. I don't want to touch any actual switch. I just want to be able to walk in the bathroom and have the lights illuminate. And so that's where I have this kind of idea to just personally use this as a way to get the light going. So here's a really quick short demo video of the light turning on once someone's in front of the sensor. Yeah, see the moment she came in, it sensed her, she's kind of right in front of there, it turns on. And I have a second demo video because if you notice, the light didn't just like turn on after or anything. For the acquire motion sensor, once a motion is detected, the sensor will keep checking every 5 seconds if motion is still being detected. And at the earliest, 1 minute and 30 seconds after motion is like last detected, will the light turn off if no like detection has been, or no, if it's been false, or excuse me, false basically, after 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so I don't ever want to wait that long until the light no longer illuminates. I can simply turn the light off from IoT Creator UI, which can be accessed via browser from anywhere essentially. And in this video, I'll show you just kind of turning off the light from an iPad. So my light's on, I can control the brightness from the user interface. And then I can also turn it off, as I mentioned before. And so my system is really, really basic at this point, nothing really sophisticated yet. I definitely have a lot more ideas for expansion. I'm thinking I could add in, well, first right now I do still have that humidity sensor in the bathroom. So, if I'm taking a shower and the motion detector doesn't really sense my movement in the shower because the glass is blocking, as long as, the humidity is meeting a certain threshold, lights will still remain on. But I could add, let's say, a leak sensor around toilet or sink area, or even by the shower, just make sure no puddles are happening outside the shower. Also, another thing to add would be different color bulbs, different hue bulbs in the bathroom itself. So maybe at a certain time of the day, the bulb will illuminate a different color depending on what time it is. Also, another thing was thinking that if someone's using my shower, it's located on the downstairs floor. So a lot of guests would potentially use this shower. If there's like a type of sound sensor that could be incorporated in the shower itself. So let's say if there's a loud noise correlating to like a thud or someone falling in the shower, a text message could be sent, let's say to me, to kind of notify me that, hey, check on your guests in the bathroom. Could be like a fall, you want to check up and see if they're okay. But basically the idea is that I hope to kind of expand what I learned in the class to really personalize my bathroom and a personal IoT system. And I think that it might be useful for others who also are in a windowless bathroom or just want a more personalized experience for their bathroom.